Imagine waking up in a world without fire. No warm meals, no light after sunset, no way to scare away hungry predators hiding in the darkness. Every night, the world belonged to wolves, lions, and giant cats. As the sun disappeared below the horizon, early humans had only two choices: hide or become someone's dinner. Millions of years ago, our ancestors had never cooked a meal. They ate raw meat, hard roots, insects, berries, and whatever they could find before darkness arrived. Winters were freezing, storms were terrifying. A single cold night could mean death. Yet somehow, everything changed because of one of the most dangerous forces in nature: fire. But here's the strange part. Humans didn't invent fire. Fire already existed long before humans ever walked the earth. Lightning struck dry forests. Volcanoes erupted without warning. Burning trees collapsed across the land, leaving behind rivers of glowing embers. To most animals, these blazing infernos were something to escape. But one day, one curious human may have done something no other creature dared. Instead of running away, they walked toward the flames. That single decision may have changed the future of our entire species forever. Scientists still debate exactly when humans first began using fire. Some evidence suggests it happened nearly 1 million years ago. Other discoveries hint it could have been even earlier. Whoever that first brave person was, they could never have imagined what fire would eventually make possible. Cooking, warm homes, metal tools, cities, factories, electricity, even rockets reaching space. All of human civilization can trace its roots back to one glowing flame. But before humans learned to control fire, they first had to survive it. And that journey was far more dangerous than you might think. Coming up next, how did ancient humans go from fearing wildfires to carrying fire with their own hands? Long before humans knew how to create fire, they had to borrow it from nature. Imagine a violent thunderstorm sweeping across an ancient forest. A bolt of lightning strikes a massive tree. Within seconds, flames race through the dry grass, filling the air with smoke and heat. Every animal runs for its life, except, perhaps, one. Instead of fleeing forever, a small group of early humans may have waited until the fire began to die down. As the smoke cleared, they cautiously approached the burned forest. The ground was warm. Broken branches still glowed with tiny orange embers. Curious but careful, one brave individual picked up a burning branch. For the first time in history, humans weren't just watching fire, they were carrying it. But carrying fire wasn't enough. Keeping it alive was the real challenge. If the flames went out, there were no matches, no lighters, no easy way to make another fire. That meant someone had to protect it day and night. They fed it dry wood. They covered it from rain. They carried glowing embers during long journeys. In many ways, fire became the most valuable thing a group could own. Losing it could mean weeks or even months before another wildfire appeared. Some scientists believe entire families may have taken turns guarding the fire while others hunted or gathered food. The campfire wasn't just a source of warmth anymore. It became the center of daily life. People cooked together, shared stories, protected children. And for the first time, the darkness wasn't quite so frightening. But humans still depended entirely on nature. If storms never came, if volcanoes stayed quiet, fire could disappear forever. That raised an important question. Could humans learn to create fire whenever they wanted? The answer would become one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Coming up next, how did ancient humans finally unlock the secret of making fire with their own hands? For thousands of years, humans depended on nature to provide fire. But at some point, someone asked a question that would change history forever. What if we could make our own? No one knows exactly who discovered the secret. It wasn't a king. It wasn't a famous inventor. It was likely an ordinary person who simply refused to give up. Perhaps they noticed that rubbing two dry sticks together created warmth. Or maybe they saw sparks flying when two stones struck each other. At first, nothing happened. One attempt failed, then another. and another. Hours passed, days passed, maybe even years, but eventually, a tiny thread of smoke appeared. The person rubbed faster, the wood grew hotter. Suddenly, a tiny glowing ember appeared. It wasn't much, just a small orange dot. But that tiny ember held the power to change the world. Carefully, they placed it into a bundle of dry grass. They gently blew air onto it. The smoke grew thicker. The grass began to glow. Then, whoosh! Flames burst into life. For the first time, humans didn't wait for lightning. They didn't wait for volcanoes. They had learned to create fire whenever they needed it. That single discovery changed everything. Families no longer feared losing their last burning log. Hunters could start campfires wherever they traveled. New lands suddenly became possible to explore. Cold mountains, frozen valleys, even harsh winters became easier to survive. Archaeologists have found ancient fire-making tools made from wood, flint, and iron-rich stones in many parts of the world. Different cultures invented different methods, but the goal was always the same. Create fire, control it, pass the knowledge to the next generation. It wasn't just a survival skill anymore, it became one of humanity's greatest inventions. But creating fire was only the beginning. The real miracle happened after people started using it every single day. Because fire didn't just make life easier, it began changing the human body itself. Coming up next, how did cooking food over fire help turn early humans into the people we are today?
At first glance, fire simply made life more comfortable. It kept people warm. It scared away predators. It lit up the darkness. But its greatest impact was something no one could see. It changed the human body itself. Before fire, early humans ate almost everything raw. Raw meat was tough to chew. Roots were hard to digest. Meals required enormous amounts of energy just to eat. Then cooking changed everything. Heat softened meat. It broke down tough plant fibers. Food became easier to chew, easier to digest, and far more nutritious. Instead of spending hours chewing every meal, humans could absorb more energy in less time. Many scientists believe this extra energy helped fuel the growth of the human brain. And that's important, because the human brain is incredibly expensive to run. Even today, it uses about 20% of the body's energy, despite making up only a small fraction of our body weight. Cooking may have helped provide the calories needed to support larger, more complex brains. Around the campfire, something else began to happen. People stayed awake after sunset. Instead of sleeping as soon as darkness arrived, families gathered around the flames. Hunters shared stories about the day's adventures. Parents taught children valuable survival skills. Elders passed down knowledge that couldn't be learned by instinct alone. For the first time, information could be shared night after night, generation after generation. The campfire became humanity's very first classroom. It helped strengthen families. It built trust. It encouraged teamwork. In many ways, civilization didn't begin with cities. It began with people sitting together around a fire. But humans were only beginning to discover what fire could do. Soon, they would use it to shape wood, harden tools, create pottery, and eventually melt metal. Without fire, there would be no Bronze Age, no Iron Age, no factories, no modern technology. The tiny flame that once frightened our ancestors had become the foundation of civilization itself. Coming up next, what if humans had never discovered fire? Would civilization even exist today? Imagine a world where humans never learned to control fire. No cooked food, no warm homes, no metal tools, no cities, no electricity, no airplanes, no smartphones, no rockets reaching space. Without fire, the world we know today would simply not exist. After mastering fire, humans began discovering new possibilities. They hardened wooden spears over hot flames, making them stronger for hunting. They baked clay into pottery,
allowing food and water to be stored for the first time. Thousands of years later, they learned to melt copper, bronze, and eventually iron. Every great civilization, from ancient Egypt to Rome, from China to the modern world, was built upon the knowledge that began with a single flame. Fire didn't just change technology, it changed people. Around the warmth of a campfire, strangers became families. Families became communities. Communities became villages, and villages grew into civilizations. Even today, fire remains one of humanity's greatest companions. It powers our industries, generates electricity, launches spacecraft into orbit, and helps create nearly everything around us. Yet the next time you light a candle, start a barbecue, or watch flames dance in a fireplace, take a moment to think about the first person who ever dared to carry fire. We don't know their name. We don't know where they lived. We don't even know what they looked like. But without their curiosity, without their courage, without that single decision to walk toward the flames instead of running away, human history might have taken a completely different path. Sometimes, the greatest revolutions don't begin with armies, or kings, or inventions. Sometimes, they begin with one curious mind and one tiny spark. If you enjoyed discovering how fire shaped human history, don't forget to subscribe, because in our next journey, we'll uncover another fascinating mystery from the ancient world. Who was the first human to wear clothes? The answer is far stranger than you might imagine. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.